The story of Flying Tiger Line Flight 739 is one that has captivated the imagination of many for decades, becoming one of the most mysterious and tragic aviation disappearances in history. The flight, bound for the Philippines from the United States, vanished without a trace on March 16, 1962. To understand the significance of this flight and the enduring mystery surrounding its disappearance, it's important to examine the circumstances leading up to the flight's fateful journey, the events of that day, and the legacy it left behind. The Flying Tiger Line was a prominent air carrier, initially founded as a freight service, but in the years following World War II, it had expanded into passenger transportation. The airline gained notoriety for its role in transporting cargo and personnel to the Far East, particularly during the Vietnam War, when it was tasked with moving military personnel and supplies. Its role in military logistics and transport made it a familiar name in the aviation world. In 1962, the airline operated a wide variety of flights, both commercial and military, and Flight 739 was just one of these operations. The flight was a special chartered mission organized by the U.S. Department of Defense. The destination was Clark Air Force Base in the Philippines, and the aircraft was a Lockheed L-1049 Super Constellation. The Super Constellation was a long-range, propeller-driven aircraft, known for its reliability and range. Flying Tiger Line Flight 739 was carrying 93 U.S. military personnel, including Army, Navy, and Air Force service members, along with 11 crew members. The passengers were a mix of military personnel en route to Southeast Asia, and their mission was one of many occurring during this period of heightened Cold War tensions. The aircraft took off from San Francisco International Airport around 7:00 p.m. local time. The flight path was straightforward, a direct route to the Philippines, with an intended stopover in Guam. Everything seemed routine at the outset, with no indication of trouble. The weather that evening was reportedly clear, and there was no sign of any mechanical issues or problems that could have affected the aircraft. The flight had been fully fueled and prepared for its journey across the Pacific Ocean, a route that the Flying Tiger Line had flown many times before without incident. However, as the hours passed, the situation began to take an unsettling turn. Flight 739 made contact with ground control, as expected, during the early stages of its journey. Communication from the plane continued smoothly until the last known transmission, which occurred around 11:00 p.m. The pilots of the aircraft reported they were on course, and had passed the halfway point of their journey. They were flying over the Pacific Ocean, roughly 500 miles from the coast of Guam, when the transmission abruptly ended. No distress signal was sent, and no indication of any emergency was reported before the plane's disappearance. At first, authorities assumed the plane had simply lost radio contact due to interference or a temporary issue with the communication equipment. It wasn't until hours later, when it became clear that the aircraft had not landed in Guam or made any attempt to contact air traffic control, that it became apparent something was horribly wrong. A search operation was launched immediately, with U.S. military and civilian aircraft scouring the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean for any sign of Flight 739. The search effort involved multiple aircraft and ships, and despite days of intensive searching, no wreckage or debris was ever found. No distress signals had been sent out, no wreckage was ever located, and no trace of the aircraft or its passengers was ever discovered. The disappearance of Flying Tiger Line Flight 739 seemed as though it had simply vanished into thin air. This inexplicable loss has remained one of the great unsolved mysteries in aviation history. In the aftermath of the disappearance, numerous theories began to emerge about what might have happened to the aircraft. Some speculated that the flight may have been the victim of a catastrophic mechanical failure. The Lockheed L-1049 Super Constellation was a reliable aircraft, but no plane, no matter how well engineered, is immune to the potential for disaster. Given the distance the aircraft had traveled and the absence of distress signals, some believe that an explosion or sudden failure could have caused the plane to break apart mid-flight. However, without any wreckage or bodies to support this theory, it remains speculative. Others suggested that the flight had been the victim of foul play. Given the military personnel on board and the tensions of the Cold War era, some wondered whether the flight might have been the target of an attack, whether by enemy forces or through some kind of sabotage. Yet, no such evidence was ever found, and there were no indications of a military threat that could explain the disappearance. Furthermore, the lack of any distress calls or signs of damage to the aircraft made this theory difficult to prove. One particularly intriguing theory involved the possibility of the aircraft encountering a powerful weather phenomenon. The Pacific Ocean is known for its violent and unpredictable weather patterns, and there have been cases of aircraft being caught in severe weather conditions that caused them to crash without warning. However, reports from the flight's last communication suggested clear weather, and there were no significant weather disturbances in the region that would explain the plane's disappearance. In the years following the disappearance, investigations continued, but no concrete evidence ever emerged to explain what had happened to Flying Tiger Line Flight 739. The U.S. government and military, along with the airline itself, conducted thorough investigations, but the mystery remained unsolved. In the absence of physical evidence, the disappearance of Flight 739 became the subject of much speculation, with many believing that the truth may never be known. Despite the ongoing efforts to find answers, the disappearance of Flying Tiger Line Flight 739 remains an enduring enigma in the annals of aviation history. The 104 people on board that fateful flight were never found, and their families were left with unanswered questions and an enduring sense of loss. The tragedy of Flight 739 is a stark reminder of the unpredictable nature of air travel and the risks involved in flying, particularly during a time of geopolitical tension. Although decades have passed since the disappearance, the mystery continues to haunt aviation experts and conspiracy theorists alike, with many still searching for an explanation. Over the years, the story of Flying Tiger Line Flight 739 has faded somewhat from the public consciousness, overshadowed by more well-known aviation disasters. However, for those who remember the events of 1962, the disappearance of Flight 739 remains a haunting reminder of the uncertainties and dangers that exist in the world of aviation. The passengers and crew members on board that flight are remembered, not just as victims of a tragic incident, but as symbols of the countless lives lost to the mysteries of the skies. In conclusion, the lost flight of Flying Tiger Line Flight 739 stands as a testament to the unpredictability of aviation, the ongoing search for answers in the face of the unknown, and the enduring mystery that still surrounds it. Despite the passage of time and the countless theories that have emerged, the true fate of Flight 739 remains one of the most perplexing mysteries in the history of aviation. Whether the plane was lost to a mechanical failure, a weather phenomenon, or something more nefarious, the absence of any tangible evidence has left us with more questions than answers. For the families of those on board, the disappearance of Flight 739 is a painful chapter in their lives, one that may never be fully resolved. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more content. Stay tuned for more exciting updates.